What's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Hope you all have had a great Monday. It has been a crazy last 48 hours as I mentioned the chance for a tropical wave to impact Georgia and South Carolina as early as I believe I made a video talking briefly about it as early as Saturday morning. At that point, I thought it was just going to be a tropical wave. I think most people did, and most people didn't even mention a tropical wave. But this thing has escalated over the last 48 hours. The National Hurricane Center has mentioned it. And now they mentioned it up enough, became a tropical depression, and now is actually making landfall. It's Tropical Storm Danny right now. I don't know if they've officially announced its landfall, but by the time most of y'all watch this, this would officially made landfall. It looks like it's making landfall kind of around the Edisto Island, Beaufort, Hilton Head area. You can tell where the circulation is. It's very exposed. The worst weather is around the Savannah area, Savannah, Georgia. A lot of heavy rain in Hilton Head to Savannah area. And this is just a stationary heavy band of rain. There's probably gusty winds and there's probably some street flooding going on right now. But this will continue to march and kind of straddle the South Carolina, Georgia border, head up towards Augusta and into Atlanta, and really just fizzle out into just a low pressure. And this is not a very impactful event. There's just some gusty winds down there, but it is very interesting because it strengthened right over the Gulf Stream and strengthened enough to become a tropical storm. But before we really get deep into this, we're going to talk a little bit more about this, and then we're going to talk about the threats, not threats, but we're going to talk about maybe some more troubles in the tropics that really might has a chance to develop down the road. We're going to break that down and briefly talk about July 4th weather and July 4th weekend weather that has the potential to be impacted by a big time, maybe an upper level low. So we're going to break all that down. If you guys have not subscribed, definitely hit the subscribe button. I upload videos even when the weather's kind of slow. I still try to upload daily, so I stay consistent with my uploading. So definitely hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any videos, and like the video if you like it. And thank you all for the incredible support. I've had a lot of growth over the last 3 weeks, and I wouldn't be able to have that without you guys. So thank y'all. But briefly, there is some showers even on the north side of the circulation. Some showers making as far north as, even the northern Midlands of South Carolina, but some more showers are working through, and there'll be scattered showers throughout the night in western areas in the Midlands and the Low Country. As this continues to roll through, there's a little bit of a breeze going on, but still is just not a very impactful tropical storm. In fact, a lot of people have this theory that I think that the National Hurricane Center just wants to take a name, but that's not true. But here it is. You got Danny right here. It's a 45-mile-per-hour storm. The lowest tropical storm winds is 40 miles per hour. So they actually upgraded it to a tropical storm, a 40-mile-per-hour storm, and then they moved it up 5 more miles per hour before landfall. Who knows? By the time you watch this, maybe it'll upgrade to 50 miles per hour right before it hits, but I doubt it. And it's probably officially making landfall right now. By the time most of you guys watch this video, it's already made landfall. But we're talking about this too. Also, this is the 2 p.m. update. So notice, by the time some of you watch this, it'll be the 8 p.m. update or even overnight. So this might be bumped up to 40 to a 50% chance. But we're looking at this. And then there's going to be an area right behind it that has a chance also. But this little 40% chance right here, this is 95L. Or my bad. This is 95L. So we have to pay attention to this. As of now, it has the cone going in here, but a lot of guidance today has kept this more south. And I'll tell you the steering currents in place of why I think this is going to take the more southern route down here. But ridge of high pressure up here, really keeping this thing down south, but has a 40% chance to develop into a tropical depression inside the next 5 days. I really think this will take a name. The next name is Elsa, which is very familiar in my household. Being Frozen is a big movie for the little kids these days. Heck, I even like watching the movie. But Elsa is the next name. There's a chance that it might be a quickly used name, but we'll watch. But the E letter is Elsa, so that'll be the next name used in the hurricane list. So we're going to watch this, and this is where it is right here. It's gonna be moving here in time, but I want you to watch this. It kind of fizzles out, and what I really think has a chance to become the next named storm is the one that has a chance to develop behind it. So it's really interesting what's going to happen here. So there's another wave that's kind of emerged right back behind here. So there's 2 little areas of interest right here. This one kind of gets going, and then it kind of fizzles out. Then there's another one behind it that really takes a real southerly track, as there's a dominant ridge of high pressure up here. Then it has a chance to get going, moves through the southern areas of the Western Antilles. When I tell you this is a really southern deep south track to it, I really mean it. I mean, it's really south. And it gets going, and it actually plows into Central America as maybe a strong tropical storm or a hurricane. This is just one run off the GFS. It's very interesting, but this ridge of high pressure is really steering this thing south. And at the same time, there's an upper level low, kind of a dig in the jet stream, really digging right here that might have an influence on this track also. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot to figure out. But this little storm, there's two little areas of interest right out here, and I think there might be another invest that pops up. It might end up being 97L tomorrow. There might be another area of interest right behind this one. So there might be another one pops up behind it. So it's going to be very, very interesting over the next couple of days what happens. This is 95L. It's blowing up some convection right now, but there's nothing defined. It really need to get this thing define low-level circulation, even if it's exposed. When you get that, then it has a chance. It's also in kind of coolish waters right now. We'll show that here, right here. So it's kind of way out here. It's a little bit cooler waters. It's about to move into some warmer waters, though. Temperatures in the low to mid-80s Fahrenheit. So that's much more suitable sea surface temperatures for tropical development. As far as the track of this thing so far, a lot of these models have it fizzling out. It has this one fizzling out, and I wouldn't be surprised if it does. But there's the one behind it that I'm going to keep getting them confused. But it's really the one behind it that we're focusing on. That's really, I think 95L is going to kind of die, and I think 97L is going to emerge, tropical wave behind it. And that is going to be the one that we're going to talk about. I'll show you kind of what I mean again. I'm trying not to get them confused. Back it up right here. This is the one that has a chance to develop. There's another little area of energy behind it. You get moving here in time, and that pops a little bit of a low pressure temporarily, but it fizzles out, and that's why these models have it kind of fizzling out right here. That's why these little lines right here don't keep it going, because it has it really dissipating. So some models have it. The models that do have it going, like these right up here, the models that do have it going give it a chance to make it to a tropical storm, but really not any higher than that. So if it does make it, maybe a tropical storm. But the one behind it is really what we're focused on. I think that would be 97L. Invest 97L. That is the one we need to focus on. Really, I think it'll get talked about a little bit more over the next 48 hours when there is actually an area to talk about. Now, as far as shear, tropical systems do not like shear. It shreds storms apart, right? So this is where our two areas of interest right here. Notice the greens and the blues and even the yellows. That's not very high shear. So there's some favorable conditions along with good sea surface temperatures to really keep these things a little bit juiced up and give them a chance of development. And here's that one development right here as we get into next weekend. So this is the 4th of July weekend. It gets into the Western Caribbean, and it keeps the southern track, and it slams into, looks like the Yucatan Peninsula in Central America right there as maybe a high-end tropical storm, low-end hurricane. So it's super interesting to see what's going to happen here. As far as the EPS ensembles, the European ensembles, even though I hadn't even showed you, I don't even think I've showed you guys the, it seems like I had it up. Here it is. So here's the European model as far as what it's showing, the latest European. It shows that first wave right here as we get into Wednesday. Then there's another one behind it. Notice that first one kind of fizzles out into just an area of a blob of green, basically a blob of tropical moisture. You look at the dominant ridge of high pressure suppressing the south. There's a more defined tropical wave behind it, and that has a chance to do something. But the European has that has the ridge of high pressure scooting a little bit further. Not really. It's kind of the same as the GFS, but it wants to keep this tropical system curving more to the southeast coast, and then it's going to definitely get picked up by that upper level low and just merge into it. That's what would happen there. So it's very interesting to see what's going to happen. There's not much support of any of it really with the EPS ensembles, with the Zolgadol Spaghettios. But if you're looking at the GFS ensembles, you notice how active it gets in the Western Caribbean. Here's that first little wave that's 95L right now. Here's what I think is going to be 97L behind it. It's a lot more enthused on development. Gets into the Western Caribbean. Notice all these potential low pressures here. Who knows what happens? And it gets in, maybe it sneaks into the Gulf of Mexico. Some energy gets in the Gulf of Mexico where it's warming up rapidly as we get into July. We'll see what happens. As far as the pattern in place, I like to talk about this because I like to educate people on what steers these things. Tropical systems can't go right into ridge of high pressures. They can't go into high pressures. They have to work a way around it. They have to work the steering currents. When you have troughs are cold fronts or an upper level low, sometimes they steer them away, or sometimes they merge with like an upper level low. When they merge with it, it kind of pulls it in. So if you have an upper level low dropping down with a hurricane moving in, sometimes it pulls it in, if you will. You know, the mechanism of how that causes, I can't get super detailed with you because I don't know, but it's tropical systems cannot go into high pressures and they get pushed by fronts. You go back and look at Hurricane Michael, for example, when it hit the Florida Panhandle. There was a strong season-changing cold front that moved through and pushed that thing into the Carolinas and Virginia. It's a good example there, but this is where our tropical systems could potentially be. Strong ridge of high pressure right in the middle of the North Atlantic keeps any systems suppressed down there, and it even bogs down on what could be 97L. Really bogs down on this really good and keeps it south. But then it has a chance to lift north a little bit as that ridge of high pressure shifts. Let me get my directionals mixed up. As the ridge of high pressure shifts a little bit more further east, and has a chance to start moving maybe a little bit further north. But GFS really still wants to keep this system more further south. So to me, it would seem like if this is a stronger storm, it would be able to lift a little bit into this ridging. But we'll see. Briefly, I'm going to probably, unless something crazy shows up, I'm probably going to start digging into the weekend forecast tomorrow. But this is an interesting setup for the weekend that isn't getting talked about a lot yet. Unfortunately, if you live in the East Coast, and just the eastern U.S. in general, including the Ohio Valley, the Deep South, there is a chance this weekend for a crazy summer upper level low. That has a chance to basically buckle the jet stream down here, or I wouldn't say it's a cutoff low because I don't think it gets completely cut off, but that potentially might be the case. This is what it could bring several things. It could bring potential for a washout of a weekend for the southeast, especially in the mid-Atlantic, or it could bring some severe weather to certain areas of the southeast, and it can bring much below average temperatures for the southeast. And that's what these things like to do, as energy likes to fire up here, as sometimes a low-level jet even likes to pop up here. You normally don't see it at this time of the year. You really don't. And this is what happens, and this is your time frame, July 3rd, so this is this Saturday. You can tell the bar's right here. Look at the rain. You can see all the green just popping up over the southeast, so it could be a really rainy weekend. And check out this. This is temperatures, relatively high temperatures around 4th of July. Look how cool they are in the eastern U.S. You're supposed to see 80s and 90s across the board. Maine is warmer than South Carolina and Georgia. That's because you have rain-cooled air here. And you just have flat-out cooler air in the Ohio Valley because you have an upper-level low right over the top of you. So you have just cooler and cloudy conditions. So it might be a rainy, kind of coolish for July standards weather for July 4th, but we'll get detailed into this in the coming days as we find out a little bit more. But it might be a little bit of an unsettled 4th of July weekend, that's for sure. But that's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all have a blessed night.